This chapter is called the credit transaction. Now, it's often overlooked the power of this particular part of the process, the F&I process. It is absolutely essential, number one, that we fulfill our most important job responsibility in the finance and insurance office, and that's to secure the car sale, secure the deal. Well, since the vast majority of all customers borrow money and set up a credit transaction, if you will, to purchase these vehicles, it's essential that we use that particular credit underwriting and our responsibilities within that credit underwriting and the credit transaction to fulfill that responsibility. Now, when I say it's easy to overlook, it's because a lot of times in the finance and insurance environment and in the sales environment, we consider it pass-fail. Either a customer is creditworthy or they're not. And the fact of the matter is those are the far ends of the spectrum, but there's a lot of things that happen inside of that, whether they're creditworthy or they're not, that can be used to move someone from having a profile that's probably not as good as it possibly should be, or certainly from the outside looking in, what the lending institutions or we may perceive it to be, and something that is what the lending institutions want. Now, when you take a look at a car deal and you're determining the merits, what we want to teach you in this chapter is how to make a decision based off the merits. So what we're going to teach you is we're going to teach you how to take a look at the car deal. What you look at first, what you look at second, what you look at third, what to ask the customer, and how to interview properly to where you can develop the merits of the car deal to where you'll believe in it. Now, we change the mindset a bit to where we try to cause you to put yourself in the position of the banker, to where you're loaning your own money, and teach you to think like that, and from that frame of mind, what questions would you ask? If you knew your job basically hung in the balance of whether you could get financing for the customer or not, and if you couldn't sell a car, then naturally you're going to do everything in your power to dig deep and ask the necessary questions to find enough merit in it to where you would feel comfortable loaning them your money. Now, that's probably a stretch for many. However, if we can have you frame your mind that way and understand true lender underwriting and what goes into that and what makes a car deal, then you're going to ask the appropriate questions. You're going to identify leverage points with the customer. You're going to have significantly more credibility with the customer because you're truly going to understand your business. And those types of questions and the tools that we're going to provide you in this chapter, if used effectively, are going to make your customers a lot more open. It's going to make your customers a lot more pliable. It's going to position you better to where you can be more persuasive with them. It's going to help you be more persuasive with your lending institutions. And it's going to help you put your enterprise, your dealer, and your dealership in a much better situation because they can rely on you to make decisions on the spot without having to rely on others to determine whether an automobile transaction can go through or not. And then you're in control. You're in an action mode rather than a reaction mode. And you're going to be positioned a lot better than you've ever been before in the past to optimize profitability, to secure the sale, to secure that front-end gross, and to optimize back-end profits. After all, when your customers come in, and you have a customer that comes in that takes advantage of all of your offerings, and you can't get it carried, and you don't know enough about the customer, what are you going to do? Now keep in mind also, as we go through this, it's human nature to value what you have much more if it's yours than if you're considering purchasing it, right? So as a customer's credit worthiness, they value their credit and they believe in their credit. And they probably hold it a little bit higher on the value scale than what the market might. Okay? Now, if you're going to go through these things and talk about the customer's credit opportunities or loan opportunities or terms or conditions, you're not in a very good position if you don't know how to interview and underwrite, if you don't know how to establish the leverage points, identify the leverage points in the customer's credit profile and in the situation and in the numbers and in the structure of the car deal. And if you don't know how to leverage those points with the customer, you're going to have an uphill battle. No different if you've ever sold a car before and you had a customer that was bringing in a trade-in and your responsibility was to put a number and value that trade-in of that customer. If you know nothing about the customer's trade-in, you're going to have a very difficult time establishing and supporting the number that you put on that trade-in, because you know the customer is going to have a higher perceived value in most cases than the number that you're going to put on the trade-in. So remember, if you want to maintain your credibility and you want a customer to listen, you better know about the credit. You better know what questions to ask, just like you better know about the trade, and you better have seen it and understand all the ins and outs about that trade-in before you place a value on it, so you can defend it, leverage off of it, and obviously put your customer's mind in the appropriate frame, if you will, to embrace what you have to offer or talk about. Take a look and pay attention to it. There's a lot of things that you'll learn in this chapter. It's very powerful stuff. Spend some time learning it and learn all you can about credit underwriting, and it will help you establish authority at a level that you've never before had, even with the best of credit customers and the hardest of credit customers. You'll find yourself in a much better position to influence them and communicate with them.